What's good? What's going on, everybody? And you already know who this is. It's definitely your utmost higher goddess herself, Shar, coming back at you once again here at the P.E.G podcast, man. That's positive energy, generation, because we that for life. We choosing the positivity through all the negativity that's going on in this world. Could life be motherfucking life? And I'm gonna always say it like that, so you know I be in my bag full of artists, public figures, guests around the world to inspire you. It doesn't matter who, as long as they come to inspire you. So I've been in my bag and I got real deep with this one, and you never guess who I got coming on, man. I'm just bear with me, cause y'all like to guess real fast. So just bear with me. I'm gonna introduce this artist, okay? So not only he's an artist, but he's a songwriter and a producer from the Bronx, man. So look, I love the up north. Y'all know how I feel about up north people. They got the real grind and they don't stop for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he's one of them. He was born in New Jersey and was a college. He was in college doing cross country and track and field athlete. He had a couple of surgeries and it pushed him from being an athlete, loving music, and being a musician who he is today. So man, look, if you just don't know who I'm talking about, I'm about to tell you. His name is SK No Edit. So let me give you the one and only in the building, Mr. SK No Edit. Let's go. How you
Oh,
doing?
what's up, Shar? How you doing?
Man, we here. We here. You know what I'm saying? So
We here and we positive. That's what it's about.
it's about, man. So before we get started, make sure you follow, follow to not only encourage us to create more content like this, but encourage others to come on and spread their story, share their story, because you never know this may help. But let's dive into my man, SK No Edit. Let's find out what he got going on and what he featured for Artist of the Week, man. So tell everybody a little bit about SK No Edit.
Yeah, part of my voice because I caught a cold for the last few weeks, but we keep it moving regardless. So, um, yeah, man, I am a singer, songwriter, producer, rapper, guitarist. I like dabble in piano, but nothing that I'm trying to play live. Just a little to produce. You feel me? So, yeah, but I love honestly, I love music, and I know a lot of people say that, um, but that's really where it starts and ends for me. I work with a phenomenal team, and we're just out here trying to share like positive music with the world and impactful music and bring back lyrics and all that. So
No, I like it, bro. Cause like when I listen to your music, is it's literally different from most, and I like how you do different genres and stuff like that, which I want to talk about. How at first in your career you was an athlete, you was cross country, track and field, and then you had surgeries that shifted your career path to now wanting to love music, be more into music. Now you're doing songwriting, producing, you're a musician. So what can you share with us a little bit of those those emotional impacts that you had to face going through those surgeries and now switching over to music?
yeah, so I guess what I would say is uh music has always been a part of my life and so have sports and so part of it was I grew up in a household with a lot of alcoholism and domestic issues, for lack of a better way of putting it. And I think for I don't know, for at least for people I've spoken to who've grown up in situations like that, you always have some type of outlet, some type of passion that you can go to escape when you really can't otherwise escape. And so for me, music was always one of those things, but not in a way of creating it, just in a way of listening to it and hearing other people's pain or other people's happiness through music and allowing that to be my, one of my outlets. And then the other thing for me was always athletics. And so it quickly became running. I would have loved to be a sprinter, but I'm just not built for that life. It wasn't meant for me. I would have loved to be like one of those 100-yard dash people that just blown by everybody, like like Usain Bolt. But nah, it wasn't meant to happen. So I was a distance runner, and for me, that became a huge outlet. And like I would run hard every day to kind of release all the negativity in my life and turn it into something better. Like was just like a very competitive, very like stare everybody down and convince them they're not gonna win type person. Uh which is crazy. So it was very intense. And then and I was good too, like I was all American. I had, you know, been to nationals a lot, and then all of a sudden it just was gone. Um, and I needed multiple surgeries, and it was just never the same. And ended up with neuropathy and all these things, and so I got depressed, to be frank, and my mental health was really bad. Um, I was just struggling to do anything, and um, and so I needed a new outlet. And my mom has said to me, like, why don't you, like, you love music, why don't you try music production or something? Um, so I taught myself how to mix and engineer and produce in Ableton, because some of the people that I like knew, that's what they were using, because they were all electronic music people, and I wasn't really into that, but they all use Ableton. So I was like, all right, that's cool. Let's do it. So I learned how to do it, and I made some really bad songs at first. Like they were straight up trash, but you got to start somewhere to get somewhere. So slowly the trash started turning into, like a little bit of gold here and there. And then next thing you know, you actually got some good stuff going on, and it's just fire eventually. So it's been a really cool process. Like it got to the point now where I look back at songs that I made, a year ago, 2 years ago, and I'm like, that's still cool. Whereas like some of the songs you go further back, you're like, oh no, that was bad. You're like, it had the right idea, but it just the execution was just a little short. Like, nah, it wasn't it. Um,
Your mom was the one that gave you a different way to like shift your mindset, even though you like was going through a rough path, but um, she gave you something else to have hope in. So how do you think? How can you say that have impacted you as an artist? Like your surgeries, and now you found yourself. You have more confidence. You found what you can do, what you cannot do. How does this impact you as a musician, or in your music period?
what happened was I took the mentality that I approached running with, which was in some sense this like crazy workaholic mentality, and used it in music. And and for me, it was such a process of not giving up, like in terms of, sometimes you're like, I remember I was working with someone who was managing me a few years ago, and he would listen to us. Like I would record a song, I spent all this time writing it, then I record it, um, and then I would spend hours mixing it, because at the time I couldn't mix for shit. So it was like, I spent hours just trying to EQ a freaking vocal, and then I come back, and I'm like, all right, listen to it, and he'd be like, nah, that's trash. You gotta do it again. And so, I think it was learning from that, like kind of picking yourself back up and being like, okay, let me do it again. And even to this day, like there's a song I'm working on now. Um, and one of my closest co-producers who I work with, he heard the second verse to the song. We got the first verse, we got the hook, it was fire. Okay, cool. Then we get to the second verse, I record it. He hears it, he says, listen, that's not it. Ah, shit. Okay. Then you go back to the drawing board. You get frustrated because you put your heart and so you feel like you put your heart and soul into this freaking verse, and you come back and now it's not it, and you're like, goddamn. But then it was crazy because then, you know, two verses later, I think I went through three different verses trying to get this freaking second verse. But two verses later, you come out and you hear it, and you're like, "That's fire. That's the one." And you just know, like, it was worth it. It was worth the blood, sweat, and tears, whatever you put into it. Come out on the other side and be able to hear it and be like, "That was it." So
I like that. I like that. Well, it seems like even though you had some hardships and you faced mental health issues and you went through some darkness, it seemed like you found yourself a little bit. You know, what in being who you are, finding yourself in music and being in the Bronx. Are you still do you still live in the Bronx now, or this is where you from?
yeah, I still live in the Bronx.
Okay, so how would you say the Bronx has shaped you from being in the culture of the Bronx, being around the environment? How has it shaped your music?
One, the Bronx is like the home of hip hop, right? The creation point.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of pride in the Bronx around that, which I think is cool. And so there's a lot of history, particularly music history and culture. Um, and I think it gave me a real appreciation for the beginnings. Not that I'm, I would say like an exclusively hip hop artist or anything, but gave me a huge appreciation for the beginnings of hip hop and how it was created and the struggle that it was created within.
yeah,
Um, but I think additionally, me living in the Bronx, I just has given me like, I mean, it's gonna sound corny, but like, obviously, like I'm white Irish. That's my background. I am so blessed to be around so many different people with different ethnicities and religions and whatnot. Um, like, I live in like a real melting pot. Even just for instance, like my community, I live near Little Yemen, so there's a huge Arab presence. And I learned so much just about Arab people by where I live. And
oh, that's cool.
I think, that's a privilege to be able to get to experience other cultures. And it's sad because we live in a country right now, like you even see it with all the politics and nonsense. It's like we live in a country that's so polarized right now. And it's like, dude, it's kind of like what you're talking about with positivity. Like if we just experience each other and build together, we can actually, you know, we realize we're all people, we're all after the same stuff.
Yeah.
We're all after equality, we're all after representation, all this, you know. So um, I mean for me it's just been I think it's been really fundamental in my life. Like if I had kids, I would never want them to grow up in all white communities. I'd be like, nah, that's not it. That's not it. Because you're not gonna know the world correctly if you grow up in that setting. You're
Facts.
not gonna experience everything you need to experience to know that. Like, for me, it's just like a lot of people, it's gonna sound crazy, but a lot of people like because they're ignorant to certain things, they just think they don't happen or it couldn't happen.
Mm.
Like police brutality isn't real because you don't see it. Well, just because you don't see it and it's not in your community doesn't mean that it doesn't impact people in other communities.
That's true.
And
So true.
so, to me, one of the most powerful things is being exposed to, a variety of people and ethnicities and cultures and whatnot.
I think
So
that's cool that you get the opportunity. I would say that my wife, she's from New York, she's from Queens, and she says the same thing. How being around different people, being around different cultures, it has shaped her to be open. And I like that, and I do like that you express that. If you have children, you wouldn't want them to be in an all white community because I feel like you said, it closes you off to just that community, and you don't know anything about other communities or how to respect other communities or how to be around them, how to even interact with them. So I think that's very cool and even dope on your part that you're putting this into not only your music but in your values of who you are. So how do being like from the Bronx and going through these experiences and saying what you just said, how do you actually keep your values and what's important to you in your music? Because you can look in the music industry now and you can see where people would rather gain 1 million followers than and make stuff that they think that other people may hear than really things that feeds the soul. So how do you keep your values and your morals in your music?
I think in terms of integrity, the biggest thing is like if you're gonna write a song, it's gotta relate to your life. Like it's gotta resemble your life. Like if you're and I get not everybody feels this way. Like some people think, oh, it's just pure entertainment.
Yeah.
But I also think music resonates the most when you genuinely feel it, like when it comes from a place of your experience. Like the I've had the easiest times writing songs about things that I'm going through in that moment or that I recently went through
Yeah.
or whatnot. Like it's all my music is inspired off of things that have really happened to me, you know. And I think in that sense it keeps it very authentic and it keeps it very consistent with my values because I'm not talking about things that I don't feel or I don't relate to. And you know, I will say like one of the producers I work with, he's you know, he has very strong values himself. So, you know, he recently said like I don't want any swearing in the music, right? Um, and so it was like, okay, I guess that is what it is. We got to get more creative with it. Got to, you know, find like do what they did in the old days. Like you want to talk about sex, you got to start using metaphors and shit.
Right. Find creative ways to say it.
Yeah, so I was just like, all right, you know, it makes it easier in some sense. You know, we go for a lot of publishing opportunities and stuff, and that type of stuff's easier to land with clean music. You know, so sometimes it's you know, it's at times like I'm like, I just want to use this word. I just want to curse
I
somebody
just
out in
want to
my
use this
music and just
word.
get it out. And sometimes it's like, okay, relax. You gotta think of a different way. You gotta like figure out how to say it differently and connect with people on a different level. Um, so yeah, so I think, you know, me personally, I think I want to make if I'm making music and I want to share it with the world, then it should reflect my values. Because otherwise, what am I telling people?
I mean, you can be capping, you can tell them lies, but it won't be as authentic. You know, I like how you said that. Like, make them feel like if it doesn't relate to you, it just don't relate to you. But making music that's not only relatable to yourself because you're the one making the music, but to others, and I think that that helps bring a more of an authentic crowd, more of an authentic reaction from others. And then, like your guy said, he gave you a challenge. He like, now I don't know cursing. Now you gotta be out here like Will Smith. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
exactly,
Straight clean
exactly.
rapping. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
you get it, you
Powerful.
get it. Yeah,
And
I mean, and it, I think overall, like I used to swear all the time in my music, and I think for me, it has pushed that extra boundary of like, all right, let me like get creative with these words here. Let me, you know. So, and we argue about the gray area of like what crosses the line and what doesn't.
yeah,
And I'm like, all right, but we're not creating kids bop shit. So
you know,
come on, we gotta have, you know. So we go back and forth about it, but I think we found a place of like pretty good, you know. But you look at a lot of the major artists, like especially back from like earlier 2000s, like you look at like I don't know, like Neo. I heard Neo never cursed in any of his songs. I heard him curse in the back like that with Ghostface. And I was like, whoa, this dude actually
uh-huh.
cursed in music. I was like, damn, okay. Um, but yeah, a lot of people like, especially if you want to cater to a younger audience, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I've never I've never heard Will Smith curse until he did the Oscar.
My wife's name out your fucking mouth!
So you know, I told him, you know, it's more for music wise, but like music wise, yeah, he doesn't curse, and I think he just did a performance on the BET Award, and it was a very powerful message that he had put with the song and some other artists with it, and he did not curse. Like the man got skills, so I think that's cool. He puts you in a different way where everybody can listen to it, but it don't have to be kids bop, but still being relative and challenging yourself a little bit. You know.
Right, right, exactly. And I think too, you know, and in terms of authenticity, like I would never, I think sometimes people will if you're telling a story through a song, that's one thing, but like you're not gonna hear me curse about or not curse, but you're not gonna hear me write about like selling drugs or something. I never sold drugs, so I'm not gonna talk about that. Like, or even doing drugs. I've never done lean. I'm not gonna talk about that. You're not gonna hear it in my music. It's
No
it's
fake
gonna
perk.
be things
Not
that I
doing no
can
fake
relate
perk.
to. So, what you say?
I said no fake perk.
So,
Somebody say that. Like I heard a couple people say that, they done fake perk or
a
rappers do
fake
fake.
perk.
Yeah, and I'm like, what's the purpose?
Yo,
Hey,
listen, I did perks once because of my surgery, and I was like, never again. This shit had me like, I was like crying out of nowhere. I was like, I don't cry. I'm not one of these people, man. I don't do this. And all of a sudden, I'm just crying because it just messed with my head. I'm like, I can't sing the way I want to sing, so now I'm crying. And I'm like, dude, we just never again. My second surgery, I was like, don't give me Percocet. Don't give me
yeah,
anything. Don't give me Vicodin. Don't give me Percocet. Don't give me none of that shit. I'll take Advil. I'm fine. We straight. We straight on Advil.
yo, nah, I ain't gonna lie, that's funny. That is funny. Nah, man, don't give you no more drugs if you gonna be just emotional.
I said, let me just have my marijuana, please. I'm good. I'm good. Just let me have my weed. I know how much I need of it. We're not tripping on weed. We're straight. We're good. So
Oh, facts, facts. I definitely with that, bro. It's these muscle relaxers and narcotics, they can do a lot to you. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like you with tramadol. When it comes to tramadol, I can't. I can't. Like I've been on it, and when I had my surgeries, and I can't. I can't. There's just one of them that I just can't do. You know what I'm saying? So stay away from drugs. No drugs.
yeah, it's just one of those things. You got to stay in your lane. You got to know your limits. I'm not gonna judge anybody for anything, but I'm just gonna be like, it's not for me. You do you, I'll do me. Be cool. So
I wanna talk about your song that you featured for Artist of the Week. Through all the ups and downs, you're finding yourself. You went from being an athlete cross country, doing cross country and field, and then now you have to switch not only your mindset but dive into another passion of yours because you said music has always been your life. Your mom encouraging you, so you got that support system. And now you're going from trash music that you say that you first started off, and now you are able to see your growth, and people able to see your growth. I really want to talk about the music that you have for us. So Zombie, right?
They don't know me. Thinking back to I was at
Zombie,
18.
right? What was the idea behind this song? Like, what was the creative process that you went through to get this song out there?
yeah, so Zombies a special song to me. It's so I will say it's a little bit more like auto tune than most of my music.
Yeah,
Just on kind of on that current auto tune vibe that I really love it in some music. Like um and then the guitar is a big part of my music. So having that strong guitar track behind it. Um and then what it's about. So for me, it's about mostly kind of overcoming or working on, I guess, I don't know if you really overcome it, but like working on PTSD and becoming kind of, I don't know. I guess like, yeah, I don't know. It's a weird way to talk about it, but like, I guess you don't really overcome it, but dealing with it. And so part of it, like the concept of the song was like, you know, the hook goes, they don't know me, looking through the mirror at the old me, staring back at me as a zombie. Um,
yep.
so kind of having that old person, um, who may have been troubled, may have been, you know, not doing everything right and moving on from that. And so like that image of kind of like burying a zombie in the ground, like kind of burying your past trauma or your past, you know, bullshit, for lack of a better way of putting it. Um,
It's creative as hell. I ain't
and
gonna
just
lie.
that struggle, yeah, that fight to put that stuff behind you and move on to something better. Um, but to do it, for me, that was the whole metaphor of the zombie, like to do it to talk about that type of stuff in a way that's not corny, it's not none of that. It's just like, like you could feel it and it's real. And it's crazy because I got like really great reception on that song. And a lot of people were feeling it and feeling the message of it.
Yeah.
Um, because sometimes you do like a big metaphor like that, and you're like, I don't know, like, did I go too rogue with it, or like,
Ah,
is it gonna connect?
yeah.
Like, are people gonna feel it, or is it gonna kind of go over everybody's head because you didn't, it's like, it's actually the funny thing about that is like, you hear dudes being like, did it go over your head? Like, as if that's your fault. But
Ah,
really, if you're an artist, it's your job to make sure it connects with people, that it doesn't go over their head.
yeah.
Because a lot of times if it's going over their head, it's it's actually your fault for not making it clear enough what you're talking
That's
about.
true. That's true.
Because people are not mind readers. They can't figure, like, you gotta lay it out there. If you're not saying it right, you know, it's on you, it's not on them.
It's like onomatopoeia. Did he say onomatopoeia? Like I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Listen to like a Ti track. You trying to figure out what he's saying. Like I need a dictionary. But man, I definitely relate to that. You're supposed to be able to connect with the audience and who you're trying to target. So, like you said, if it goes over their head, if it goes over one person's head, you like I said, you show the music to somebody, and they're like, I didn't really get that. You gotta think about it, like how many more people not gonna get it. I always tell my wife, like, if I'm thinking something and I could be thinking it to myself, and somebody say it out loud, I'm like, nope. I'm always gonna go with whatever what we was doing, because if you felt it and I didn't say nothing, oh, I know I ain't tripping. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah,
Yeah,
I dig that.
exactly.
I
Exactly.
dig
Like,
that.
it's just funny because sometimes I'll come up with a bar and I'll be like, yo, this is the best bar ever. Like, it's like, you had to think this way and then this way and then this way, and there's like levels to it. And then people are like, dude, like, relax, man. Nobody's understanding what the hell you're saying. Like, that's
Yeah,
too much. You're doing too much. Like, nobody's gonna sit back and hear that bar and think about it for 30 minutes and come up with what the hell it's supposed to mean.
right.
Like,
Like, wait, what he
come
say?
on now.
What he say? Nah, but how would you tell artists that are like trying to engage with their audience the way you are? Like you said, you have to think about them. You have to be able to reach them into the music. How do you actually target your audience? And what advice would you give other artists too?
I think you have to decide what you're writing it for. If you're writing it for yourself, like for your own like release of whatever you're feeling at the time, if that's what you're writing it for, and you're just trying to do that, then do whatever you want. Do you, that's your process, and that's that song for you. But if you want people to feel it or relate to it, then you have to make it relatable, you know. And I think like even I don't know, this is kind of dropping a jewel, but one of the things that one of the people I worked with recently told me, he said, look, you got to simplify your lyrics a little bit, because apparently he did some analysis. The most like hit songs over the last however many years, let's say 15 years, like 80% of them don't go beyond a fourth grade reading level.
Dastardly motherfucker.
That's so fucking crazy. That's why y'all
So
don't.
that's the type of thing, it'll blow your mind.
No, for real. So you gotta write on a level of a fourth grade level so that everybody can understand.
Right. Right. So so there's more, so then you kind of have to think about it and be like, okay. And then I thought about it, and I was thinking about the songs that I know that, pop off. And I was like, I guess there's really only one or two words that I really know. Like that might be like these higher level words, but for the most part, like, like for instance, we were just talking about Neo, right? Think about his song Because of You, right? That song's about sex, but he doesn't say it in there. And he just says because of you, and it's all these low level, words and stuff. So, um, like when you think about it like that, it's like, wow, actually there is a formula to it in that sense. There is kind of a method to the madness. So
No, you're right. He said, but don't say it. But in the video, you look at the video, you be like, oh, eh, my kids should not watch this video. You know what I'm saying? Like, they back there singing the song, but you like, so you right, you right. So if people like right now, even artists, they're like, you know what, man, I like what he said. I want to like maybe do some work with him or get more advice or just follow your journey and watch more projects such as Zombie that you're dropping. Where could they find you on social media?
yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at so I think on Instagram and TikTok it's sk.no.edit. But if you look up sk no edit, you should find it. And then on YouTube, if you look up sk space no space edit, you'll find me. I actually just broke 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, so that was a cool moment. They sent like a little plaque in the mail. I was like, wow, this is sick. Yeah, yeah. So, and I'll be releasing a new video soon called Love Me Heavy. It's featuring Keith Murray, who's a legendary rapper out of New York. He did some work with LL Cool J and Foxy Brown, um, and all them back in the day. Yeah. So, and we actually just shot the video for it last weekend, and it was just such a cool vibe. Like he's just such a cool dude. Um, so yeah, I mean, just stay tuned for that.
Like, yeah, y'all gotta stay tapped in. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole vibe, my boy. SK no edit, man. You gotta look. You gotta give at least before we get off one valuable advice that you would give that people that's working on their YouTube. You over here hitting numbers. You know what valuable advice would you give them to help them keep pushing? To maybe they want to hit a plaque. You know what I'm saying? We all out here trying to grind. So what one advice? Good advice.
So I think one thing that I learned for YouTube, and this is just a little thing, um, but don't put skits at the beginning of your videos until you pop off, because the minute so I did a song once with the music video. We filmed a skit at the beginning, then we realized it wasn't doing numbers, and we took the skit out, and it started doing numbers. Um, if people don't know who you are, they just want to get right to the music. They don't want to see a skit or none of that.
So his music.
Like like if you're Drake or you're Chris Brown or you're Taylor Swift or whatever, all right, cool. You know, for the skit, do whatever you want because people are gonna watch that shit. It don't matter. It's like when Kanye released that song that was like boom boom, like it didn't even have anything in it. You know, people still streamed it. You know, if you're an independent artist and you're on the up and up, um, yeah. And also this is gonna sound a little crazy too, but just figure out which platforms are for you and which are not. Spotify is not really for the independent artists, man. They're not right now. They pay the least. They flag independent artists that start to blow up. YouTube's a much better platform. They pay more. They're free, you know. So, um, you know, do the research and look into what platforms really, value independence because it's not all.
Hey, that's some good look. That's good, valuable information right there. Y'all can take and run off with it because I didn't know that either. So if you're an independent artist, he just told you Spotify is not the best platform to showcase who you are. You know, YouTube is better. And go do some more research. Research which platform works best for you. I got one more question before we really get out of here. If you're drunk right now, you know what I'm saying? If you're drunk, what's the first thing you gotta do? You drunk, so you don't really know, but what is the first thing you gotta do?
Wait, what you say? If you do what?
If you're drunk, you drunk. I mean, but you're drunk. What's the first thing you gotta do?
Oh, I can't hear what you say. My bad.
Nah, you're good. You hear me now? All right, I said, if you're drunk, what's the first thing you gotta do?
If you drop, if you're drunk. If you're drunk. If you're drunk, are we trying to be drunk or are we trying to be sober? Oh, if I'm drunk?
What's the first thing you gotta
First of all, if I'm drunk, I'm not about beer or wine or any of this shit. If I'm drunk, I'm getting drunk on something like I want like a margarita or something. I want a margarita or something. I'm all about the. It's terrible. I'm all about the hard liquor, but if I'm drunk, we partying. That's it. We partying. I'm getting my girlfriend. We going out. We having a blast. I'm not gonna be walking straight, but it's gonna be a good time.
Hey, so they already
Everybody
know.
on the block can join in. Everybody on the block can get it too. That's how we gonna do it.
I fucks with that. If you drunk, then everybody gotta get drunk. I fucks with that hard, man.
You could pull up too. That's it. We're gonna party.
We gonna party. We gonna party like this. What they say? Like this 1999? Oh no, you know what I'm saying? Yo, I like that, man. But definitely, man, y'all go check out his.
One for all, man. We gotta all do it together and have a blast. It's always more fun when you get the people involved.
No, facts. It's fun when you by yourself, but it's way more fun when you do it with others and you get people involved, man. Like, yeah, y'all go check out his music. It's dope, man. The boy's fire. I ain't gonna lie. That's SK, no edit. Go check him out on all major platforms. He just told you how to get to him. And if nobody told y'all today, tomorrow, yesterday that they love you, know that Shard from the P.E.G podcast loves you. My boy, SK, no edit.
I just want to give a last thank you to Shar and P.E.G for doing it because man, you guys are great, and the positivity is exactly what we need. So, word.
Thank you, man. Look, if I don't leave you with nothing today, just remember this, man. 2 negatives equal to a positive, so we all can be positive. You feel me? We all can be positive, man. So thank you for getting on, sharing love with us. Thank y'all, and we'll see y'all again here at the P.E.G podcast. Let's get it. Let's go.
All right, peace.
They don't know me. Thinking back to who I was at 18. Looking through the mirror at the old me. Staring back at me as a zombie. Chaos around me. How I'm supposed to go about it calmly. Looking through the mirror at the old me. Staring back at me as a zombie.
So I want to say thank you from the P.E.G podcast family to you. It means a lot. All right, we got more shows coming, more merch coming, more interviewers coming. I mean, we got a lot of things in our bag coming. You don't want to miss it. And hey, I may be country, but one thing I want to say, don't judge me, judge your mama. And we'll see you here next time with the P.E.G podcast. Positive energy generation. Let's go.
Cut that check, I want some more. Y'all gon' pay my rent, I want some more. Hold up in the legs, I want some more. I want some more, I want some more. I'm avaricious, mad ambitious. Just like you, I'm chasing riches. Steady on a come up that's expeditious. I mean straight prodigious, red carpet vicious. Timeless.